Now at 10, investigators' findings on the deadly D.C. plane crash. The factors behind the crash that killed 67 people, including a Charlotte flight crew. Officials report dozens of new measles cases in South Carolina, the spread of the virus there and north of the state line. And an inside look at how North Carolina National Guard soldiers were part of the response to the recent ice storm.
Queen City News starts now.
Federal investigators say there was more than one cause behind the deadly collision of an American Airlines jet and an Army helicopter near Washington, D.C. The January 29th crash killed a Charlotte-based flight crew and 63 others. Thanks for joining us at 10. I'm Caroline Boyer. National Transportation Safety Board officials met today to release the probable cause of last January's accident. Factors included overwhelmed air traffic controllers, the helicopter not being at the right altitude, and years of ignored warnings about crowded airspace. As Queen City News reporter Shakira Speaks shows us, investigators say new technology could prevent similar collisions.
Tonight, National Safety Transportation Board members are endorsing the new push for a new requirement for advanced locator systems to help avoid future collisions. They believe it will address many of the concerns about overcrowded airspaces over the past year.
There is no singular person to blame for this. These were systemic issues across multiple organizations.
Thursday marks 1 year since the deadly midair collision between an Army helicopter and an American Airlines regional jet near Washington, D.C. It killed 67, including the plane's 4-person flight crew based out of Charlotte. The National Transportation Safety Board members shared results of their investigation during a day-long hearing Tuesday. They say the jet and helicopter were in similar air paths near Reagan National Airport. Officials say the federal regulators put too much reliance on air traffic controllers to keep aircrafts out of each other's way.
The local controller stated that he felt a little overwhelmed about 10 to 15 minutes before the accident.
NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy says that Federal Aviation Administration ignored years of warnings that plane and helicopter paths around Washington were too close. She says this accident could be repeated elsewhere in the U.S.
I keep hearing about other areas in the airspace where they're concerned. Burbank is one where commercial airlines have called me to say the next midair is going to be at Burbank, and nobody at FAA is paying attention to us.
NTSB Chair Jennifer Homendy says there's a need for aircrafts to have more sophisticated crash avoidance technology than in the past. She notes the regional jet and the Army Black Hawk both lacked automatic sensors to allow for better flight tracking, and that's tech that only cost about $400. Back to you.
Initial thought was there might be people trapped inside the airplane or the helicopter or wherever it is, and I'm going to do my best to get there as fast as I can, get dressed out as fast as I can, and get in the water and try and help.
That's D.C. Metropolitan Police Officer Robert Varga, one of the scuba divers who responded to the crash. He and his colleagues soon discovered there were no survivors. Instead, they spent days retrieving the victims' bodies from the Potomac River. They spent weeks getting belongings out of the water to return to the victims' loved ones.
The police department had 3,000 total hours on air, recovering every single piece of personal property that we could for the families. And speaking to the homicide detectives, they appreciated every single thing we could get back.
The divers found something from a separate crash in the Potomac, a piece of an Air Florida Boeing 737 that crashed into the river in January of 1982. Mecklenburg County health officials are confirming a third measles case in the past week. The patient is an unvaccinated child now recovering at home. Leaders are also issuing notice of potential public exposure to the virus. People who attended events at Sardis Presbyterian School on January 17th might have come in contact with measles. Any unvaccinated people at the school that day should contact their healthcare providers or the county health department. Case numbers for South Carolina's upstate measles outbreak are nearing the 800 mark. Health officials found 89 new cases since Friday, bringing the total to 789 since October. More than 570 people are now in quarantine, including hundreds of students from schools in and around Spartanburg County. About 88% of people who've gotten sick were unvaccinated. We're following breaking news out of Minnesota. This is video of an attack on Congresswoman Ilhan Omar at a town hall meeting tonight in Minneapolis. Video shows the man spraying the Democratic lawmaker with an unknown substance before bystanders tackled him. Omar was speaking about the unrest in the Minneapolis community since a deadly shooting Saturday involving immigration agents. On social media tonight, Omar says she is okay. South Carolina Republican Nancy Mace is also posting her condemnation of what she called an act of political violence, saying no elected official should face physical attacks. Tonight's incident is a sign of the heightened tensions across the country since the weekend shooting of ICU nurse Alex Preddy. As Kristen Eskow reports, the Trump administration is facing bipartisan pressure over the incident.
President Trump would not say whether he believes the shooting was justified. We've learned the president and his Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem met in the Oval Office Monday night for nearly 2 hours as the administration's response to the shooting has come into question. As pressure builds on the Trump administration following the killing of 37-year-old Alex Preddy by immigration officers, President Trump says he's waiting for the results of the investigation before passing judgment.
I'm going to be watching over it. I want a very honorable and honest investigation. I have to see it myself.
The president did voice support for DHS Secretary Kristi Noem.
I think she's doing a very good job. The border is totally secure.
Pennsylvania Senator John Fetterman, a Democrat who at times votes with Republicans, called on President Trump to fire Noem, saying, quote, Americans have died, and calling Noem, quote, grossly incompetent. Her comments Saturday about Preddy immediately after the shooting sparked the backlash.
This individual who came with weapons and ammunition to stop a law enforcement operation of federal law enforcement officers committed an act of domestic terrorism. That's the facts.
But that's not seen in witness videos, which instead show Preddy filming the incident. In the moments before the shooting, videos do not show him drawing his gun. A growing list of House Democrats are calling for Noem to be impeached.
We have to end this brutality and lawlessness and this national nightmare. And the first step is holding people in charge accountable.
Secretary Noem has agreed to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee in early March. Lawmakers here on Capitol Hill have also requested testimony from several other top immigration officials. In Washington, I'm Kristen Eskow.
The president's border czar is replacing Border Patrol Chief Greg Bavino in the wake of the Minneapolis shooting. The North Carolina native will reportedly head back to his former supervisory post in California. The move came after a phone call yesterday between President Trump and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Saturday's shooting has led to further protests against the presence of Border Patrol and ICE in Minneapolis.
Good. Get them out of here. Murdering people for what reason? That's not closing borders. It's killing legal citizens.
Democratic leaders like Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker say more needs to be done and a demotion, quote, cannot detract from accountability. Union County deputies say a man is facing 3 kidnapping charges after investigators found him with a missing teenager. They arrested 26-year-old Zaire Witherspoon last week in Monroe. It was part of a search for a missing 13-year-old from Wadesboro. Deputies say Witherspoon admitted to taking the teen and 2 other juveniles. All the children have been safely recovered. Witherspoon is in the Anson County Jail on a $500,000 bond. North Carolina National Guard commanders are showing the work of their soldiers to help people and first responders during the recent ice storm. The Guard had 427 soldiers and 162 vehicles out in the past few days. They assisted in rescuing stranded drivers, delivered supplies to hospitals, and provided transportation to dialysis patients.
Just as we've gotten rid of that one storm from this past weekend, have you heard? We could be tracking another one coming up this weekend, and this time around, it could be mostly snow. What else we know so far? That's next.
The winter storm this weekend did not give first responders any breaks, even the ones fighting fires. How Virginia crews dealt with the conditions.
I did it, not for the Instagram moment, because Instagram wasn't even a thing. I did it just to learn.
And you can't point to a country on the map this man hasn't visited. A North Carolina traveler who's always had a hard time staying in one place.
Coming up on Carolina Sports Live, we take a look at the Hornets' upcoming road back-to-back as Buzz City is fresh off a huge win and now have won 4 of their last 5 games. Plus, it was almost assumed Bill Belichick would be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, right? Well, that isn't happening after all. We have the details and more on CSL tonight at 11.
You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Many first responders are still dealing with issues from the recent winter storm. That includes firefighters working in frigid conditions. Angela Bohan shows us how they fared in Virginia.
Well, we haven't seen extreme temperatures like this in quite a few years.
Battalion Chief Tommy Thomason with Suffolk Fire and Rescue says their crews must be prepared.
That's something that we're faced with this week. We understand that there may be another second round of snow.
Chief Thomason tells me shorter rotations, a change out of crews is essential. And he says a change of gear is a must.
Crews would have 2 additional sets of gloves that they may need at an incident, as well as 2 sets of flash hoods that they'll carry with them. And when they get back to the station, they have a whole full set of second turnout gear that they would get into dry, warm, and ready to go to respond for the next incident.
This new garage allows crews to be indoors to wash any salt or sand off the trucks, ensuring they're in tip-top shape for the long haul. Since the ground can easily turn into an ice rink this time of year, a safety officer will be watching for spots they need to treat with sand or ice melt. And of course, firefighters are often the first to respond to any sort of water main break or water leak, something that you can help with in advance.
Please make sure that that you're following what the weather and the news forecasters are putting out there as far as, opening up cabinet doors to provide heat in their home, to the pipes underneath the sinks, extra layering around their windows if need be.
This week's cold temperatures are creating problems for people across the Carolinas. Homeowners are reporting failures with their HVAC and heating systems. It's leading to an uptick in business for heating and plumbing companies. One family says their attic water heater froze and burst when they needed it most.
So they got up this morning, didn't have hot water. So a lot of we've got probably 20 calls today with no water. So that means it's frozen.
Right, okay. And what are the types of calls and the volume have you been seeing even before the storm hit over the weekend?
We didn't see quite everybody was prepping. We did have a couple of frozen burst. Really when we get in the teens with the wind chill factor is when we start seeing these.
Like now?
Yeah, like now.
Experts are telling homeowners they can help prevent problems by replacing their heating system filters, insulating exposed pipes, and letting their faucets drip. Some remote areas in South Carolina are among the last to have power restored. Location is one of the biggest obstacles Duke Energy crews face to get the power back online. Officials say the worst damage was concentrated in the higher elevation areas of Oconee, Pickens, and Greenville counties.
Access in this type of weather and terrain is certainly one of the biggest challenges we have, and that's why we're very appreciative of our partners out there at the city, county, and state level who have been great to work with, helping us clear roads and getting access to some of those hardest hit areas.
About 3,500 utility customers are still without power in South Carolina, while fewer than 800 in North Carolina still lack service. You're looking live tonight at Monroe. Frigid temperatures overnight are going to create the chance for water on the ground to refreeze. Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane joins me now. Tara, we know those HVAC systems are working overtime to keep people warm.
Yeah, and this cold air mass, I mean, it's not really budging much anytime soon. In fact, it's going to get even a little bit colder again by the weekend, when we could be tracking some additional moisture pushing in, and that will equal some snow possibly around here. So please keep checking in with us. Again, we were saying this a week ago, over the next few days for that potential winter storm that could be impacting us. The chances have increased for the upcoming weekend. But for now, it's just cold, and boy, it is so blustery up there, especially up there in the mountains with wind gusts up around 50, even around 60 miles per hour. It stayed cold today over the Queen City, reaching a high of only 38 degrees after starting out at 14. Was that a record by any chance? Well, you can see no. At least in Charlotte, the record stands for another year of 6 from back in 1940. But a lot of you did end up in the single digits surrounding the city of Charlotte earlier on this morning. Now, a lot of our temperatures have already tumbled below freezing. We've got mid-upper 20s in places like Statesville and out through Salisbury, still at 33 in the Queen City. And that low temperature, that temperature so far right around only the 20-degree mark up in the mountains. But look at this. It is so gusty up there in the mountains, and so it still makes it feel like it's below zero, those feels like temperatures, and that's going to continue through tonight before the wind settles a little bit into tomorrow afternoon. We actually have a cold front that's on the move right now, coming into the higher elevations and maybe squeezing out some snowflakes or a couple of flurries flying. Not going to see that outside of the mountains, but yes, indeed, just be mindful of as you're walking around and driving around, any of that melting that took place today. Freezing, it already has been frozen over out there, those lingering wet spots out there, and turning into ice once again with those tumbling temperatures tonight. And this is what you're going to be waking up to tomorrow morning. Low teens up in the mountains, but feeling colder with some of the lingering wind, about 20 degrees in the Queen City, down to 17 in Monroe, and lower 20s down to South Carolina. So temperatures obviously staying frigid. We'll come up a little bit into the 40s tomorrow as we do stay dry for most of the rest of this week. But as early as now late Friday, and especially as we head into the weekend, first half of the weekend on Saturday, we could be tracking some mostly snow this time around with this next potential winter storm coming in. Not going to see that yet tomorrow. We will see some additional scattered clouds, and after starting out in the 20s, we'll recover into the lower 40s into the afternoon. So here's what we know so far as the upcoming weekend goes. We know that the deeper layers of cold air will be in place, so that will equal mostly snow. We could have maybe a little bit of a mix at the start down into South Carolina especially, but mostly snow is still what it's looking like, starting by late Friday afternoon, Friday night, lasting into Saturday, tapering off, it looks like, by early Sunday morning. But what we don't know at this point is exactly where that low pressure is going to form and track, and that will determine just just how much snow in terms of accumulation we could see. Snow lovers, you want the track hovering right along the coast here. That would equal the jackpot and more snow as opposed to not quite as much and a whole lot of nothing if it pushes more off to the south and offshore. Here's what it could be looking like. One computer forecast model noticed by 6 p.m. on Friday showing some of that blue across the mountains down through parts of the Charlotte metro, maybe a little bit of a rain mix to the south, but then turning over to mostly blue area wide, which equals mostly snow if it stays on this track again closer to the coast and lasting right on through late Saturday before it kind of winds up with some windy conditions and moves out for the second half of the weekend on Sunday. Look how cold it's going to be for you all in the mountains. 20s for highs the next few days and turning even colder with a high of only 11 for that first half of the weekend. We'll have a string of 40s through the end of the week around the Charlotte area and much of the Piedmont. 27 for a high with that possible snow on Saturday.
Southwest Airlines' new seating policy is now in effect. What passengers are saying about their lack of choice when they board. And teaching children to limit their screen time. The girl behind a new app aimed at helping kids her age. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Southwest Airlines' new assigned seating policy is in effect tonight, and customers are already feeling the effects. Passengers must pay an extra fee to select their seats. Teresa Estachio reports on the changes.
I think that they've taken away everything that made Southwest attractive to me.
On Tuesday, a new day at Southwest Airlines.
The paying for the bags, the seats, all of that, it's just like any other airline.
Gone for good, the first come, first serve open seating approach the airline was known for since 1971 is now a thing of the past.
No matter much with me, used to it with the other airlines. And the only thing I would be upset about is the having to pay for bags again. That was always one of the nice perks of Southwest.
I actually liked the old way, but was fine. And whatever way is less expensive is the way I like it.
Southwest Airlines officials say that they made the move based on customer surveys and to align with industry practices. Also, they can now take in more money by offering premium seating. From now on, at booking, a passenger chooses from standard, preferred, or extra legroom, which all comes at a cost, with some exceptions, including Rapid Rewards members and A-list passengers.
It's just not Southwest, it's everywhere. It's everywhere, it's just everything. It's add this, add that, service charge here, service charge there. It's everywhere, it's everywhere.
Again, the changes go into effect today, January 27th.
Mecklenburg County Commissioners will begin to draw up the budget for next fiscal year tomorrow. They're set to hold a 3-day budget retreat and give an update on the county's financial status. Then in May, County Manager Mike Bryant will present his budget recommendations for the next year. Responding to emergencies during an ice storm, the role 911 operators played when the worst of winter hit. Plus, how one of the world's most famous streamers gave the gift of a lifetime to a Texas teen in need. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. Emergency operations were in full force during the weekend for both North and South Carolina. Ariana Meadows reports in Greenville, South Carolina to tell us how the conditions affected 911 centers.
Emergency personnel say the sunshine from yesterday and today has helped crews make progress with the roads. The Greenville County Sheriff's Office says it's affected the number of calls their 911 center has received since the weekend.
So from a total call standpoint, our call center received a little over 1,200 calls. Those calls are a mixture of non-emergency and emergency calls alike. From a emergency call, those are all the calls that we responded to, like calls for service that we responded to. Those are anywhere from our typical calls that we see that are not weather related to calls that are more weather related. That was about a little over 800, about 820 to 830 calls that we received that were of that emergency category.
The Greenville County Sheriff's Office says their 911 call center reports common calls of car accidents on secondary roads and shaded areas where ice still lingered. As for highways, Highway Patrol says there were some incidents, but not nearly as many as there have been in years past.
At 4 o'clock on a Sunday, there were 8 calls across the whole Troop 3 area, which that includes Spartanburg, Greenville, Anderson, Pickens, and Oconee. And that's way less than a typical day.
Master Trooper Mitchell Ridgway credits fewer accidents to the preparation work of the roads before the storm hit and people taking the storm seriously.
Number one, I feel like, the storm under-delivered a little bit, thankfully, right? And people were so prepared, and the news and other media sources, across the state talked about it so much.
Officials say roads are continuing to clear up, but they caution safe driving in areas where the sun may not have hit.
Specifically this weekend and the next few days, there's still ice on the road, there's snow on the ground, so just be careful. Drive slow, try not to stomp on those brakes too much.
Duke University is settling its lawsuit with former quarterback Darian Mensah. He is now free to enroll at any school, with the University of Miami as the current favorite. Mensah led the Blue Devils to an ACC championship and originally announced his intention to return to the school, but later changed his mind, leading to this lawsuit over the remaining years on his contract. A new report shows children ages 6 to 10 who engage with electronic screens are more likely to develop anxiety and depression. Experts say it's important for parents to teach their kids healthy habits, and a Charleston Girls app may help with that. Hannah Baker takes a look.
According to the American Psychological Association, children, especially ages 6 to 10, who engage with electronic screens are more likely to develop anxiety, depression, and more.
We're seeing a lot of issues in school, lower scores in tests. We're seeing sleep issues. We're seeing behavioral and emotional issues, attention issues, and they're all associated to screen time.
For many parents, screen time has become one of the biggest battles at home. Mental health professionals say that the taking devices away approach can make the problem worse, especially when kids don't understand expectations or consequences.
The reality is that technology is going to be with us forever. We have to form healthy habits around it.
One local family experienced that same frustration inside their home. 10-year-old Isla came up with the idea of Wisely, the first learn-to-earn screen time app.
When the time was up and I would run to my parents and say I need more time, and they would take it away and say, why don't you do some schoolwork? So I thought, why isn't there an app that just makes me do the questions to unlock the device?
Instead of shutting screens off, the app rewards kids for completing learning activities, positive tasks, and teaching responsibility. The app contains school curriculums from across the country, generating questions based off your child's age, grade, curriculum, and region.
It's very user-centric. The questions actually get harder, easier based on how they've answered previous questions. We also manage screen time based on real science and data.
The family says the goal isn't to eliminate screens, but to use them to promote learning and teach kids how to have a healthy relationship with technology.
It feels more like a game rather than like a lesson to do, and it's really fun.
We've tried to develop as a reward system that children feel empowered, and then they are able to actually access something that's enriching and bettering their lives.
Investigators are searching for a shooting suspect after a triple murder in Michigan. Officers say the victims are an adult woman and 2 children. Grand Rapids police commanders say they do not know what led to the attack. A neighbor of the family is also the founder of a grassroots organization dedicated to keeping kids and teenagers safe.
It's sad. I kind of feel like I said to other people, it's not the neighborhood, but it's still crime. There's still problems going on in the community with youth. So how can we change it? Instead of recreating the wheel, I kind of feel like we need to add to the tire and just come together and unify.
The family's landlord says last week the mother and children moved into the house where they were killed. A boy from Texas received the gift of a lifetime from one of the world's most famous YouTube streamers. Eric Henriksen tells us about the life-changing surprise from Mr. Beast.
For the first time in his life, Georgetown 12-year-old Kai Poltnitz is easily cutting food by himself.
It was kind of difficult.
All thanks to this.
Pencil grip.
From holding cups to opening doors, this robotic hand, designed by Open Bionics, is one of a kind and comes from an unlikely source.
I was actually watching a lot of Mr. Beast videos, thinking like, I wish one day that could be me.
Mr. Beast, one of the world's most popular internet celebrities.
I'm still stunned by his generosity.
Mother Charlotte adopted Kai knowing he had a birth defect. She always planned to give him a prosthetic arm, but illness and layoffs put the plan on hold.
Every now and again, Open Bionics would contact us to see how things were going.
The company connected the family with Mr. Beast's team, and everyone got to work.
It was multiple appointments, and he had no idea.
In December, Kai and his mom flew to North Carolina. Sitting in a fake doctor's office, Kai assumed he was there for a routine checkup. Then
he comes in with like a present box. I had no clue. I thought this was just a normal doctor.
He's just like, it's Mr. Beast.
The night, a whirlwind of activities. Kai played basketball with Mr. Beast, ran races, and tested the hand in various ways.
This sensor up here and this sensor right here both detect whenever I move the muscles in my arm.
Kai can use his phone to control the hand and select groups of functions. One group might be focused on eating and drinking, while another for playing sports.
And a fist.
And the arm comes with an extra feature, a one-of-a-kind case designed by Mr. Beast.
People are going to stare at him, but not for the reason that they previously would have. I mean, it looks so cool.
Snowplow drivers have their engines running up in the north, clearing out a few weeks' worth of wintry aftermath. After all this time, keeping morale up is becoming a challenge. There was a bit of a break in the weather up in western Michigan today, giving crews a much-needed break, but drivers say the last few weeks have taken a toll.
You string this many nights together, they start to lose track of what day it is, and everything kind of melts together, and so. We're just so proud of our team.
Drivers say the toughest nights are when they finally have parking lots clear and then they see that snow start to pile up again. Many essential workers braved the conditions during the winter storm, and owners of a Connecticut pizzeria stayed open to make sure they were fed. As Zuri Huffman tells us, it was business as usual for this restaurant.
There's always something cooking here at Pietro's in Hartford, with good food and good company. That's why even when the city got its biggest snowfall in years, their doors stayed open.
We just wanted to be open for anybody that had to be out in that working.
Server Samantha Stramel says that's because they get a lot of essential workers, those in healthcare, EMS, and police, to name a few. People who had to be out in the snowy conditions, and of course, they needed somewhere to eat.
It was very busy on Sunday. We had to close an hour early just because the storm did get pretty bad.
The city of Hartford got close to 1.5 feet of snow Sunday, but even so, the workers here stayed open for pickup and delivery, and of course, for their regulars too.
I know a lot of people by name.
So the next time you get stuck in a snowstorm in Hartford and you're wondering where to dine, you may have found your answer.
We love our customers. We really do.
It's a common message when freezing temperatures hit. Don't walk on ponds even if they're frozen over. It's not as easy to get pets to follow that advice. An Arkansas man had to step into action to save a dog. With the help of other first responders, the man slid across the ice on his stomach to reach Chewy, who was struggling in the water. Shannon Ellington says Chewy is back with his owner.
It's a life, and that's what we train for, and if you're freaking out, you can't handle the situation, so you just calm down and you do what you got to do.
First responders have been out since the snow came down, rescuing both people and pets across the country from different situations related to this winter weather. A Greensboro man has become every dog's best friend in his neighborhood, even though he doesn't have a pooch of his own. Chad Tucker tells us more about Jim the dog walker.
But she'll sit there and wait for me every morning, and the minute I make the corner, she sees me and gets excited.
Every day, Jim Donaldson visits about 24 neighborhood friends.
She's excited. We're going to walk down to see Charlotte.
He knows them all by name.
You ready to go, Scout? We got George, we got Charlotte, we got Babe.
His friends each have 4 legs.
We got Moki, and we got Cletus, and we got Gunner and Lucy and Lily. Well, I do a lot better with dog names than I do people names. But let's go see Charlotte, Scout. You want to go see Charlotte?
Neighbors give him many names. The dog whisperer, the Pied Piper.
Who wants a dog biscuit? You want a dog biscuit, Tizzy? That's a good dog.
He goes through about 8 pounds of dog biscuits a week.
Come here, Cody. They're peanut butter treats, and dogs love them. So I always said if I had a pocket full of diamonds, I'd have a bunch of girlfriends, but all I got is dog biscuits.
He started walking the neighborhood about 10 years ago after heart surgery.
All right, shake. Good dog. I need to keep walking and keep my weight down. So I started doing this and just filling my pockets full of dog biscuits and meet more and more dogs every day. Hello, Gunner. Hello, Lucy.
And his friends have helped him heal in so many ways.
It's good incentive. You know the dogs are waiting on you and you enjoy doing it, and it makes them happy too. You want a dog biscuit grouper?
Ironically, Jim doesn't have a dog. He doesn't need one.
A dog's a lot of work. People don't realize the expense and just the obligation of a dog. So I got the best of both worlds. She's looking for all the other dogs.
Proving we all can find the best in our own backyard.
We live in a beautiful world and some beautiful animals and beautiful people. So you need to get out and appreciate it.
In Greensboro, looking for Chad's folks.
You know, the walking, the friendships, all that means a lot to me.
Oh, did your dogs have some frosty paws taking them outside this past weekend? Well, we're going to go from that storm, and they could have some more frosty paws come this weekend. Maybe snowy paws walking the dog out there as well. We're going to talk about that potential storm as it stays cold all the rest of the week long. Pinpoint weather forecast is next. It's his world, and he's traveled to just about every corner of it. Why one North Carolina man can never really stay in one place. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. He's never been one to stay in one spot. Jim Kitchen has achieved his goal of visiting every country in the world. Bob Buckley reports on why his travels mean more than just completing a list.
Jim Kitchen's world, you can't look anywhere and say, I haven't been there, is one without boundaries.
I have a story for each.
He has a fistful of passports.
This is what it takes to
to travel the world.
That have taken him to all 193 countries of the world.
All of these places are...
And his adventures.
You know, just it's some little reminder of...
Didn't stop there.
Some people have referred to you as Marco Polo with better equipment. Really, you're the Johnny Cash song, I've Been Everywhere, Man. And by the way, you viewers would be hearing that right now if it weren't for copyright law. That's you, isn't it?
It is.
His travelogue began at home.
My parents were public school teachers. Mom was 4th grade, Dad was 7th grade, and the 3 best things about teaching were June, July, and August. So they'd put the kids in the back of the wood-paneled station wagon, and off we'd go from South Florida to Washington State, not just one summer, but my entire upbringing.
Jim packed that love of travel and brought it with him to UNC.
I was a junior at Carolina and started a travel business. So that's how I got to travel very inexpensively. This is how it all started.
That got him to about 90 countries. Then, a few years after graduating,
I woke up one day in, I think it was 1998, 1999, and I asked Jeeves, how many countries are there? Found out there was 193. I made a list of the other 100 or so countries, and for the last 30-something years, I've been working that list.
This trip to Syria completed the list, but Jim is quick to say,
this was not about finishing the list.
No, this was about living life properly.
I did it not for the Instagram moment, because Instagram wasn't even a thing. I did it just to learn, right? It was traveling was my graduate degree, my PhD.
Which he now imparts to the 180 or so kids in the entrepreneurship class he teaches at UNC, popular enough that Coach Belichick stopped by last semester.
I teach them about guiding principles, how to be a functional human being, how to get them to connect easily with other people, how to make relationships. Why? Because those are all important skills for being an entrepreneur.
And an adventurer. After seeing all of the world from ground level, Jim got a glimpse from space on the Blue Origin craft, then topped it all off by going to the bottom.
It's also possible that I'm a little nuts.
Jim recently went to the lowest point of the world's oceans.
We are at the bottom of the Mariana Trench, 36,000 feet, 7 miles below. Feet.
The moral of this story is that it's all better than you might think.
Despite all of the noise that we all hear every day, we live on an amazing planet, and we are an amazing, incredible species.
The man who has been everywhere finally has nowhere else to go and couldn't be happier about it.
All right, you're looking live tonight in the mountains of Blowing Rock. Even though the winter storm from this weekend is over, frigid temperatures are creating problems. Chief Meteorologist Tara Lane is with me now. Tara, we've talked a lot about last weekend's storm. Now all eyes are on next weekend's potential storm.
So it goes to show just that cold air is not going anywhere. In fact, it is getting even colder by the weekend. We're talking highs that may not make it out of the 20s, and yes, even outside of the mountains. And tracking that next system that will be in development over the next few days and pushing some moisture in the direction of the Carolinas, and that will equal mostly just pure snow for a good part of the area. Could have a little bit of a mix, so we'll just wait and see how it continues to shake out. But at this point in time, I would say plan for the possibility that there could be more travel disruptions and difficult conditions trying to get around out there with that snow in the forecast for the weekend. So keep checking in, as we were saying a week ago, for those updates. Right now, we are close to freezing again, 33 degrees in the Queen City with a light west-southwest wind. Dew points are still real dry in the lower teens. It is cold. It is blustery with those temperatures only around 20 up in the higher elevations. Check out these wind gusts still whipping up there, 50, 60 or so miles per hour, and the mountains making it feel like it is below zero again in the higher elevations. And with any sort of lighter breeze, it feels like it's in the 20s and 30s. But overall, the wind has calmed down across a good part of the Piedmont and the foothills. But keep in mind, again, we're talking about it again tonight. Any of that melting that took place today, everything just kind of icing over some of those remaining spots out there and slick spots on the bridges, overpasses, roads, and sidewalks. So be mindful of that getting around with those sub-freezing temperatures through the morning. We actually have a dry cold front coming through right now and also pushing in some more of this cloud cover too. And the mountains could see some additional lighter snow, some flurries flying into the night and early tomorrow, but no significant accumulation expected. Maybe a little bit of a light coating or a bit of a dusting. So all eyes continue to be on those weekend snow chances. Tomorrow we are still dry. We'll see a little more sunshine as the day goes on. After starting out in the sub-freezing 20s, we do come up a little more, but still 10 degrees below average in the lower 40s tomorrow afternoon. So over pretty much the entire, good part of the nation, eastern half of the country and all the way down to Florida, we're tracking and talking about these colder than normal conditions. So we have a string of highs still in the 40s through the end of the week. This is what I was talking about for Saturday, and especially with some of that snow flying around. 27 degrees for a high, only around 33 for a high temperature. These are high temperatures for Sunday afternoon before we recover back into the 40s early next week. So with that system, what we know, yes, the colder air is in place. Timing, it looks to be any precipitation starting Friday night, maybe a little earlier though, lasting through the day on Saturday, tapering off by Sunday morning. Again, that could shift a little bit too. Mostly snow, as I said. Where we don't know still yet, we're still several days out. We're talking about Friday into Saturday here, where that low pressure system after it develops, where it tracks, and that will determine how much snow. If you're a snow lover, you want to see that track closer to the coast. Farther away we get and more offshore, the less snow, if any, that we will see. But here's what it could look like. Notice as we fast forward into Friday at 6 p.m., we could start to see some of the snow developing in the mountains down through the foothills, Charlotte Metro, and then just spreading over more of the region down into South Carolina and out toward the coast. We're going to be tracking some windy conditions too. Maybe some blizzard conditions could be in the works, especially as we head up to the north and east. So something to watch for sure over the next couple of days. But still plenty of dry time the next couple of days. Friday, we could see that snow developing late and lasting into Saturday as temperatures remain cold.
The deadline is approaching to apply for a program that helps North Carolina residents fix Helene-related damage. Renew NC leaders give out funds for repairing damage to single-family homes. They prioritize low to moderate income families. That program is available for people in 9 counties in our area, as well as the 28214 zip code in Mecklenburg County. That's along Lake Wylie and the Catawba River. The deadline to apply is Saturday. It takes a village to handle winter. The Kansas community that banded together to clear the snow. Angie Alancia is here with a preview of Carolina Sports Live at 11.
Yeah, Caroline, and the Hornets are buzzing as we take a look at the Hornets' upcoming road back-to-back as Buzz City, fresh off a huge win, and now have won 4 of their last 5 games. Plus, it was almost assumed Bill Belichick would be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, right? Well, that isn't happening after all. We have the details and more on CSL tonight at 11.
You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. When snow hit the Newton, Kansas community, football players and cheerleaders from a junior team came out to help. Coaches say the good deed simply started as an idea to help out people in the town. Assistant coach Mel Pratt put the idea out on social media and it turned into a community effort. They say the idea behind the shoveling was to teach the players to lead with empathy.
I think we just truly recognize that sometimes our neighbors just need a hand. And it was actually our board member Trevor's idea. He just kind of came with it and said, hey, let's do it. So I made a post on social media and you wouldn't believe the overwhelming response we received.
Team leaders hope efforts like this will also inspire neighbors to come out to their games on Saturdays. The Roval course at Charlotte Motor Speedway is going to be taking a back seat this fall. NASCAR is changing its playoff race in Concord to the standard oval track. It'll be the first fall race on the oval since 2017. This move is part of the playoff changes the racing giant is making. We expect an official announcement from the Speedway and NASCAR sometime this week. You're watching Queen City News, the most honored and the most local news in Charlotte. We'll be right back with a final check of your pinpoint forecast, followed by Carolina Sports Live. Download the Queen City News Plus app on your smart TV using either a Roku, Apple TV, or Amazon Fire device. Carolina Sports Live is next at 11. Our on-demand programs include Order in the Court with Chief Legal Analysts talking about the judicial pressure on the leader of ICE. And on Stars of Service, we hear from an Army and Air Force veteran about how the military community helped her overcome abuse. Watch it all on our new Queen City News Plus app.
And if you check that Pinpoint weather app for tonight, you will see that temperatures are a-tumbling. Most of us are already below freezing, so watching out for a refreezing happening with the lingering kind of wet conditions and some of that melting taking place earlier today, turning into icy patches once again. But it's going to be a cold start, teens to low 20s to kick off the day. We'll start with some clouds, see a little more sunshine into the afternoon. We have a few more days with highs into the 40s, and then we are even colder heading into the weekend, especially on Saturday. We may not make it out of the 20s, and watching for that chance of snow.
All eyes again on the weekend, Tara. Thanks for joining us. Carolina Sports Live is next.
you.